Okay, with this video, I'm going to be working for a homework. So let me share my screen and let's get going. All right, so question one said, what does a monthly cash flow mean that is negative? So what does a negative monthly cash flow mean? Remember, to get a negative monthly cash flow, that means you're spending more money than you're bringing in. If you bring in more money than you spend, then you would have a positive monthly cash flow. So we're spending more than we bring in. And that results in what we call a negative answer when you get that done subtracting it, okay? So if you're subtracting more than you start with, it's going to be negative. If you subtract less than you start with, then it'll be positive. All right, so the second question here, I want to bring up my sheet so I don't have to say this. They want to know, for the average person, what is the single biggest category of expense on this chart? So look at this. Under 35 is the dark line, 35, 64, and then 65 and older. And if you notice, all the lines are sort of similar to each other in each of the categories. So I'm looking up here. This one is really going over far. And if you look down here on the scale, that thing's going over 30. Probably not quite to 35 or so, but it's definitely over 30 with this expense. And if you look all the way left, that tells us that housing would be the single biggest expense. And that's for all the categories, okay? So we went over here and I chose housing. And then I said, because they use 33%. So when you average these out, it must come around 33%. Be careful, because A also had housing, but they was saying it was 23%. So to be 23%, our lines would have had to quit about right in here. Okay. All right, I'm gonna move that up so we can get to that number 3 there. Decide whether this makes sense or does not make sense. Brandon discovered that his daily routine of buying pizza and a Coke was costing him more than $1,700 per year. So we need to see if he is reasonable or not. So what I would do is take that $1,700 for the whole year, and this is a daily routine, so we'll divide that by 365, because that's how many days are in a year, and that comes around 4.66. So let's see, we figured out what, 4.66 per day. So look here, that makes sense to me, 466 for some pizza and a Coke. So that one says does not make, that one says makes sense. So it makes sense, but then they're saying it's 47 a day. Well, that's not what we came up with. We came up with $4.66. So this one down here says this makes sense because this would mean that a pizza and Coke cost him about $5 a day. So 466, you could say that was about $5 a day. All righty, so number 4, I'll actually work this one out. They want me to figure out the cost per year ratios of the following 2 expenses. So Maria spends 15 a day, so 15, I mean a week, on the lottery tickets. She spends $129 a month on food. So they say on an annual basis, the money spent on lottery tickets is blank percent of the money spent to buy food. So we need to figure these out per year. So I'm gonna start with this one. You got $15 for lottery tickets. That's per week. So we know we got 52 weeks in a year. So that would equal $780 a year on our lottery tickets. All right, we got 129 a month. So take that 129. That's going to multiply by 12. Because remember, we got 12 months in a year. So when I multiply them, I get 1,548. So to get that percent, I need to take the 780, the first expense, and divide by my second expense, which is 1548. So here we go. 780 divided by 1548 equals 0.503. But remember, I got to move that decimal twice to the right. So that's going to give me 50.3. Now this one wanted me to round to the nearest percent. So that's going to stay as 0 because that's a 3 after it. So that's going to stay 50%. Now MATLAB will put the percent. So all you have to do in that answer blank is put the 50. Okay, so it's always what percent of the first expense divided by the second expense. So number 5 is the same thing. 5, they said they spent $82 on a cell phone per month. So that's per month. They spend $234 on health per year. So they want me to figure out the cost per year expenses of the cell phone to the health expense. So we need to figure that out per year. So we got 82. It's giving it to me by the month. So we multiply by 12. That gives me $984. This one's already given it to me into years, so it's done. So to figure out my percent, I take the first expense, 984, divide by the second expense, 234. So 984 divided by 234 is going to give us 4.2051. So remember, I would actually move that decimal twice. And if I'm rounding this to the nearest percent, since that 5 is a 5, that means that 0 will turn into a 1. So this will be 421%. So those aren't too bad. You just gotta figure these out per year instead of weeks and months and days that they're giving you. All right, 6 is the same way. I spend 13 a week on cigarettes. So that's cigarettes, 13 a week. We spend 36 on dry cleaning per month. So both of these need to be converted into years. So I took my 13, that was times weeks, multiplied by 52 weeks, and we get 676. $36 a month for dry cleaning, so that'll be 36 times 12 months. That gave me 432. So to get that percent, I need to take the first one, which is 676, and divide by the second one, which is 432. So 676 divided by 432 equals 1.5648. Moving that decimal twice, that's going to give me 156.48. But y'all, once again, they want this rounded to the nearest percent, which would be the 6. So since that's a 4 after it, I'm going to keep that a 6 and write that as 156%. All right, so let me see. Let me get number 7 here. So we're going to turn the page. All right, number 7 says, find the monthly interest payment in the situation described below. Assume that the monthly interest rate is 1/12 of the annual interest rate. So you maintain an average balance of $450. So that's your average balance on your credit card, which carries a 24% annual interest rate. So we want to know how much, if we pay monthly payments, how much is actually going towards interest. So to figure that out, since that's our yearly rate, we need to take that 24% and divide by 12 to see what that gives us per month. So 24 divided by 12 would be 2%. So they're charging us 2% of our balance per month on this. So we take our 450 times 2%. But remember, 2% has to be turned into a decimal. So the decimal's behind it too when you don't see it. So you're going to move it twice and add a 0. So that's going to be a 0.02. All right, y'all. So here we go. 450 times 0.02, which is the monthly rate, will mean $9. So if I pay $15 on that account, 9 of it's towards interest, and the other 6 would be coming off of my principal balance. All right, so let's see what I get for number, what are we on, number 8? So number 8 says, prorate the given expenses to find the monthly cost. Sarah pays $3,700 for tuition and fees for each of the 2 semesters. So that's going to be times 2, plus an additional $240 for textbooks, and that's each semester. So that's going to be times 2. So this is her total expenses for a year. So we want to see what that comes out per month if she was saving per month. So we would take the $3,700, add to that another $3,700 for both semesters, and then do the same thing on the books, 240 plus 240. So let's add all that together, 3,700 plus 3,700 plus 240 plus 240. That's going to give me a total of $7,880. So we want to see what the monthly cost is because that's the yearly. So since that's my yearly, I'm going to take that 7,880 and divide by 12. Whoops. So 7,880, divide that by 12. That's how many months are in a year. So let's see, they want us to round this to the nearest dollar. So that was 656.66. So that 6 is going to cause that 6 to turn into a 7. So we're going to go with $657 a month. So if they was paying that school out, that's what they would pay every month in order to pay that off for the year, okay? All right, so I'm just going to put this number 9 up here, and then I'll show you how I got this. They're giving me the expenses of somebody. So they're telling me a part-time job is $500, college fund from the grandparents is $300, and then they got a scholarship for $3,600 a year. That's their income. Their expenses over here are $500 a month for rent, $70 a week for groceries, $3,600 twice a year for tuition and fees, and then their incidentals are $120 a week. So we're just wanting to see with these expenses and this income, what is their net monthly cash flow? So on number 9, we're going to look at the money in. So the money in, I said, was 500, part-time job, 300 plus 300. So what I did was 300 a month from the grandparents. This 300 I got because he had a $3,600 scholarship per year. And if you divide that by 12, you get that 300. So when we add all that together, they're bringing in $1,100 a month. So let's look at the money out. Money out was 500 rent. Then we had what, 280. 280 was the groceries. I said they were 70 a week times 4 weeks. And that's where I got my 280 for the groceries. Plus 600. 600 I got from that tuition. It was 3,600 a semester. That's 70. So let's see, 3,600 times 2 was 7,200 a year, divided by that 12, and I got that 600. And then I got 480. 480 because they said grocery, I had 120 a week on incidentals. So I just took that 120 times 4 and got 480. So when I added all these together, I got $1,860. So remember, to find your cash flow, you take the money in, which was $1,100, minus the money out, which was $1,860. And if you subtract those, you get a negative 760, which means I got a negative cash flow, which means I'm definitely spending way above my means. All right, y'all. So we're getting there. Number 10. Let me find it on my sheet. All right, so let me show you what I did on this one. They want me to see if the average spending patterns for the people in different ages, and they want to know if this person's on par with the average for their age group or if they're above or below. So what they said was a 30-year-old woman with a monthly salary of $4,300. So let me write that down, $4,300. Spends $1,460 on rent. So that's for rent, and this is our income. So let's figure out what percentage that is, and then we'll go on our chart and see if that is in the right ballpark, okay? So $1,460 for rent. To find those percentages, you take what you're given and divide by the total income, which is $4,300. So 1,460 divided by 4,300, 0.339. But remember, I got to move that decimal over twice, and rounding to the nearest percent would give me 34% for this person's average. So let's go look at the chart. This is a 30-year-old woman. 30 years is the dark line. So let's go to housing, which would be the rent. So the dark line, and look at that. It says 34%, which equals our 34% that we got. So we're going to come in here and choose B. The spending pattern is equal to the national average. Okay, y'all, that's all you do on those. You take their percent, divide by their income, and then see if that equals the chart. So this one says a 54-year-old man with a monthly salary of $4,400 spends $220 a month on health care. So I figured out their percentage first. I took the 220 from the health care, divided by the total income of 4,400, and that gave me 0.05. And if I move that decimal right twice, that gave me 5%. So then I looked here, 54-year-olds, they're the middle line, and it's talking about healthcare. So over here's my healthcare. The middle line says 5%. We got 5%. So I said the spending pattern is equal to the national average. All right, another one doing it. Same thing. A retired couple over 65. So they're over 65. So they're going to be the light colored line. Has 3,400 on income. They spend 700 a month on health care. So I took the 700 health care divided by 3,400 income, and that gave me 0.206, which rounded off to 20.6 percent. So I looked over here, and they was over 65. We said was a light color, and this is healthcare. So for the light color healthcare, they spend 12%. This couple spent 20, so I picked B. They spent 20.6%, which is above the national average. So get your percent, compare it to the right bar, and then choose the answer. It's either going to be less than, equal to, or greater than, okay? So what was that, 13? Or tell because the numbers are cut off here. So I think this is 13. So not many more to go. This one says, you must decide whether to buy a new car for 18,000. So it costs 18,000 to buy a new car. Or you could lease it. So if you lease it, they're saying you got to have a down payment of 1,000. You're going to have monthly payments of $250. So they want to know at the end of 3 years, the lease car has a residual value, which is the amount you can buy it, of 11,000. So the residual is 11,000 after 3 years. So they want to know, assume you can sell the car at the end of the 3 years at the same residual value. Is it less expensive to buy or lease? So let's see, we're doing number 13. So for buying it, we can buy it for 18,000. So this is the buying option. If we sell it for 11,000 after 3 years, so we spent 18,000 on it, we're going to sell it for 11,000. So that means we're basically out $7,000 if we bought it. So then we're going to go over here and look at the leasing. If we leased it, we had $1,000 down, $250 a month. So they said this is 3 years. So let's see how many months is in 3 years. There's 12 months in a year times 3 years. So for 36 months, you're paying $250. So let's multiply that 36 times $250, and that's going to be 9,000. So let's see, if I leased it, 1,000 plus 9,000 is $10,000. So 7,000 buying it, you're spending 10,000 to lease it. So in this case, it was definitely cheaper to buy. So buying is cheaper for this problem. Okay, so that puts me on 14. So let me find 14. All right, so listen here. 14 has got an A, B, C, and D. So they tell you, many insurance policies carry a deductible provision that states how much of a claim a person must pay out of pocket before the insurance company pays the remaining of the expenses. So they're saying, for example, if you file a claim for $350 on a policy with a $200 deductible, you pay $200 and then they'll pay the $150. So they want to check out these following cases. determine how much a person would pay with and without insurance policy. So the first one says a person has a car insurance policy with 800 deductible. So 800 deductible per claim for collisions. During a 2-year period, so a 2-year period, a person files claims for $500 and $900. The annual premium, so the premium annually is $600. So we're going to look at the person on this one and then the insurance. All righty, y'all. So let's see. So the person by herself with without insurance. Oh, let me do this in the order they're doing them. So let me do this in the order the books do them. So I'm going to look at with insurance and then without insurance. So on this one, you had 2 regs and you got your deductible, right? So notice the first claim was only 500. So since 500 is actually less than your deductible, you're responsible for that whole $500. Second collision was 900. Well, you had an 800 deductible, so you're paying that whole 800 for that. So that takes care of what you're paying for the claims. But remember, this is for 2 years. So your premium of $600 has to be paid twice. So if you carry insurance, you would have to add those 2 years of premiums in. If you add all this up, you get $2,500. That's with, whoops, that was with insurance. I got offline. So with insurance, you're paying $2,500. Now we will do the without. So I think I said with, but then I wrote it all in the without spot. So without insurance, you're paying the full amount of both claims. So that would be 500 plus 900. If you don't have insurance, you don't got premiums and you don't have a deductible. So you're just paying the full amount. So 5 and 900 give you 1,400. So in that case, it would have been cheaper to not have insurance. But y'all, those claims are pretty small, okay? Sometimes those claims get pretty big. All right, so let's look at B. So B says you got a $300 deductible. Over 2 years, you got claims for $500 and $1,300. Your premium is equal to $660 a year. So once again, this is over 2 years. So I'm going to do the with, and then I'll do the without. So with, well, your deductible is $300. So since both of these are greater than $300, you're going to pay $300 for both of those regs. That's your part of the claims. And then your premium was $660. So you're going to be paying that twice. So when you add all them up, you get $1,920 with the insurance. So then you figure out without. Well, without is just adding these two together and see what I get. So I had a $500 claim plus a $1,300 claim. When you add them together, you get $1,800. So see, they're just wanting you to sort of be able to tell what are you responsible for in a claim when you got deductibles and premiums and everything. All right, the next one, y'all. $1,100 deductible on your insurance. Your claims are $200 and $1,600. Our premiums are $400 a year. So let's see what it's going to cost us with insurance. With insurance, my deductible is $1,100. So since this claim was only $200, I'm responsible for the whole $200 on that one. Now this one was $1,600, which is higher. So I'm going to pay my $1,100 deductible on that one, plus my premiums for both years. So let's see, when I added all them up on that one, I got 2,100. So let's look at without. Without, I'm paying the whole price of both of these. So I'm going to pay 200 plus 1,600. Remember, I don't have a deductible and premiums when I'm paying them out of my pocket. Add them together, you get $1,800. All righty, so then D, they ask you, so let me see what that question was. This was 14. So at the last question, they say, explain why lower insurance premiums go with higher deductibles. So they say higher deductibles attract more customers. No. The insurance company does not want to make a profit. Low premiums attract more customers. Well, sorry, but they do want to make a profit. C was the insurance company aims to make a profit, so they have to offset the low premium with a high deductible. Definitely, that's true. And then if the premium is low, the insurance company will make a higher profit during high claims. That's false, because if it's a high claim, they want to make the most money they can. So that's why they're going to make them deductibles really high, okay? So we would say the insurance company aims to make a profit. They offset low premiums with high deductibles. Now, if you want a low deductible, then you're going to pay a whole lot more on them premiums, okay? All righty, y'all. So that takes us to the last one, which is number 15. So 15, they say, consider a relatively simple health insurance plan with the following provisions. Office visits. So office visits require a $45 copay. Emergency room, ER, they have a $250 copayment. And then it says surgery. So to do surgery, you have a $1,600 deductible. So the monthly premium is $380. So premium is $380 a month. So they say during a 1-year period, somebody insured by this health insurance has the following expenses on the right. So February 18th, they had a office visit and it costed them $150. March 26th, they had an emergency room and that cost them $720. April 23rd, they had an office visit and that cost them $150. May 14th, they had surgery and surgery cost $8,000. July 1st, so I think July is 7/1, they had an office visit that cost them $150. And then finally, September 23rd, so this week they had to go to the emergency room and that cost $900. So they want to determine the person's health care expenses for the year with the insurance policy and then see what is their expenses without the insurance policy. So I'm going to look at with the insurance. Office visit, I'm paying $45. ER, I'm paying $250. Office visit, I'm paying $45. Surgery, I'm paying $1,600. Remember, that's my deductible. Office visit, I'm paying $45. ER, I'm paying $250. So let me have $250 right there. So we need to also remember with the insurance, I got to pay these premiums, and that's per month. So take that $380 a month. Whoops, turn that on. Times 12 months. So that's 4,560. So we're adding 4,560. So when we add all this up together, I ended up with $6,795 with the insurance. Remember, you got to take 12 of these payments, and then each of these is what you're paying for those expenses. So that's with the insurance. How about without? Well, without the insurance, I'm paying all them bills on my own. So I'm paying $150 plus $720 plus $150 plus $8,000 plus $150 plus $900. When we add all them together, I ended up with $10,070. So in that case, you definitely paid a lot more than you would have if you'd have had insurance. All righty, y'all. So that was number 15. So that's the last one on that homework. So I'm hoping this one helps you out a lot more. And I was able to go through all 15 of these for you. So I'm going to end this video and get this sent.